Welcome to the future, where anything is possible.
Cubs win World Series.
And where one small mistake
What's wrong with bringing back a little info on the future?
can change the course of history.
Well, it can't be you. You're so big.
Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film. Michael J. Fox.
It's got to be the wrong year.
Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future, Part 2. Rated PG. A brand new future is here at theaters everywhere.
You see, this one event starts a chain reaction that completely destroys your entire family.
Hey, Dr. Stain, this is tomorrow's newspaper.
Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens. I backtracked everything to this one event. That's why we're here today, to prevent this incident from ever happening. Damn, I'm late.
Wait a minute, where are you going now?
To intercept the real Marty Jr. You're taking his place around the corner at the Cafe 80s. Guy named Griff, just say no.
Hey, what about Jennifer? We're not just going to leave her here.
Don't worry, she'll be safe. It'll just be for a few minutes. Oh, and Marty, be careful around that Griff character. He's got a few short circuits in his bionic implants.
The future.
Marchy McFly, Marchy McFly. Year 6 of Marchy McFly. Ready or not, Year 6 of Marchy McFly. I'm back, great Scott. It's Year 6. 31 straight days for you. In Year 6. It's Back to the Future Part 2. Every day. Gonna have a little talk of Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc. Marty and Doc.
It's day 4. Day 4 of Year 6 of Marchy McFly. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Wednesday night, and I said yesterday there's a chance that I would be recording early Wednesday morning. Well, that turned out to be a lie. No. This morning, I thought I was tired, and I was reading my book and having coffee and lying under an electric blanket, and I thought, you know what, Michael, just record tonight because this is too relaxing to stop doing this. But here I am. It is almost 10 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But my wife and I were out for a couple hours, so I gotta be like a normal citizen sometimes out there. And tonight was one of those nights. But here I am talking to all of you about another 3 minutes and 20 seconds of Back to the Future Part 2. I was just thinking about this before I hit record. One thing that's great about the future that was predicted in this movie is that it is still a future to kind of aspire towards. Like, it still feels like a future. Watching this movie now, you're like, wow, they're in the future. Even though this is, 11 years ago now in actual time. The real world did not catch up or did not advance as fast as the world of Hill Valley and Back to the Future did. Again, there were some things that, did catch on and some things that have happened. And what I did like, what I remember is back in 2015, how all kinds of like news agencies and magazines and blogs and everything, everyone was covering, we're here, Back to the Future Day. Let's talk about things they predicted and things they missed on.
2015 is full of new beginnings, but it's also harkening back to the past. It's the year that Marty McFly goes to in the second installment of the Back to the Future series. And all day, people have been talking on social media about what the movie predicted correctly and what we haven't seen yet. Jay Korf is live in Arlington with more on the story that's trending right now. Jay?
Indeed, Morris, I know that you were fond of the stylings of the DeLorean. I was fascinated with the hoverboard. 1989, Back to the Future 2. We were all fascinated. It was a lot of fun. One thing featured in the movie was the Jumbotron. And look, we've got one right here at ABC 7.
Are you kidding me? The Jumbotron? They're going with that as a prediction?
In 1989, when Back to the Future 2 was released, we got a glimpse into how Hollywood pictured our future.
There have been a few changes.
Well, the future is now. Doc Brown and Marty McFly used a modified DeLorean to time travel to 2015. The car was a bust. But on this, the first day of 2015, social media feeds were packed with people comparing and contrasting the movie with reality.
When Robert Zemeckis did the movie, he didn't want to be scientifically correct. He just wanted to have some fun with it.
Alvin Jones, host of Planet Vehicle on WJLA 7.2 MeTV, says we are indeed obsessed with looking ahead.
So I think Back to the Future gave people that feeling of being a kid, and the possibilities are endless.
If you take a close look at the movie, we don't have soaring cars, automated gas stations, or a skateboard that can do all the things this hoverboard did on the silver screen. People, though, sure are trying to make a hoverboard for mainstream consumers, and those self-lacing shoes in the movie, Nike says they're in the works as well. But we do have Jumbotrons, large
we had that in the 80s too, buddy.
And 3D movie screens.
Yeah, we had that in the 60s.
Who would have imagined?
A couple of things that did come to fruition, and some things that just didn't pan out.
And Morris, I'm just grateful that the clothing styles that were featured in
the clothing
1989
styles
and Back to the Future are not a part of reality in 2015.
I love the big Jumbotron. That's our Jumbotron, by the way.
The Jumbotron, that's what they're going with.
I wish I had DeLorean, though. It was a great car. Not enough power, but a great car.
Find one on eBay, maybe.
I
don't know.
You could. Find me parts.
Yeah, find nice weather.
Okay. A Jumbotron has been around. I typed in Jumbotron, the first Jumbotron. It said the first large-scale cathode ray tubed CRT video screen known as Diamond Vision debuted at Dodger Stadium during the 1980 MLB All-Star Game. The formal Jumbotron brand was later launched by Sony at the 1985 World's Fair in Japan. So the Jumbotron's been around since before Back to the Future was a thing. Who researched this article? Who researched this piece? First of all, did you hear the clip they played of the movie? It seemed like they just put a microphone next to a VCR or DVD player and just hit record. Secondly, they went to some guy who hosts a show called Planet Vehicle and talked to him about on a local MeTV. And here's the thing. He still does to this day. Alvin Jones still hosts and executive producer of Planet Vehicle, which is a car show. What does it have to do with the future? I don't know, but I guess because they drive a car, they went to Alvin Jones. I think because he works for, Channel 7 WJLA. I don't know. I thought they were an LA station, but it looks like they're a Virginia, DC station. All I know is this was the first clip that showed up on YouTube. And when I re-listened to it, I'm like, wait, Jumbotron is what they're focusing on here? All in all, I do remember people talking about, Back to the Future. What did they get right? Hey, the Cubs did win the World Series. There were things predictions or things that happened. Like one thing that they could have talked about was electric cars. So there's not automated gas stations, but there's a lot of places where you can just plug in an electric car. I guess that's not really automated. I don't know. But here's the thing. I wanted to share something about how it seemed like every local news station did some sort of piece on Back to the Future. And KJLA was definitely on that list. Yes, they are MeTV, Washington, D.C. And they really kind of shit the bed on that. But I'm still glad I played it. I mean, if nothing, because the fact that they were like, Jumbotron. Like, nobody ever talks about Back to the Future like, wow, look at that big screen Jumbotron. Just like, I wonder if we'll ever have anything like that someday, which we already have had, all over the world for the last decade. Oh boy, local news, still the best. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the 3 minutes and 20 seconds of this episode. It picks up with, right in the middle of, I have a daughter. He says, Doc says, next week your daughter attempts to break your son out of jail and she gets sent up for 20 years. Now, we will meet Marty's daughter. Do you think that girl is going to try to break out that boy from prison? To me, it almost makes me feel like when we see Martin Jr., it makes me feel like they're a family of idiots. Like the fact that Marty, the person we saw Marty, he's, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. No, we did see a moment of him. We saw him flipping around. We saw him on the cover of USA Today. He doesn't seem to have the confidence of Martin Sr. But the fact that they mention a daughter, you at this point you're probably thinking, well, this daughter, it must be like Lara Croft, going to go try to break her brother out of prison, especially when you know how swift the justice system is since they've abolished all lawyers. But then we'll meet them. We'll meet them later, and you tell me, does this look like someone who would break someone out of prison in that storyline, which was the real story until these two guys showed up to, quote unquote, save the day. But what's funny is there's a line there because he's like, wait a second, I have a daughter? Like, that's what gets him, more excited. Not the fact that his children are trying to break each other out of prison. And Doc says, yeah, you see this, he says something which is very true, but I'm going to move it. I'm going to shift it. This one event starts a chain reaction that completely destroys your entire family. The event that he's talking about is Marty Jr. getting arrested, but that's not true. The event he is actually talking about is taking Jennifer out of the car. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but Jennifer out of the car leads to everything. And I said it yesterday, and I'll keep saying it all month long. Taking Jennifer out of the car at this moment, that is the event that starts the real chain reaction that completely destroys his entire family. Now, not his future family, his entire family, the immediate family that he knows, his parents, his brother that, we don't actually see in the finished film, but there is a deleted scene. We don't see anything about his sister. So we don't know what's going on there. Do we? I don't remember if they mention, if it's mentioned later. I will let's put a pin in that and think about that in a couple of weeks when we get there. Or is it when we get there, you know what I mean? The point is that every horrible thing that happens is not because they took Jennifer out, but it is due to the fact, like, Jennifer didn't cause this, but if they didn't do this, then all the horrible things that come with it would never have happened. So at this point, Marty and Doc split up. Doc says he needs to go off and intercept Marty Jr. Because our Marty is taking his place. Around the corner, Cafe 80s, guy named Griff, just say no. Doc had one job to intercept the real Marty Jr. and keep him away. And, well, I think we all know what happens there. Think about this. The entire everything with Back to the Future 3 with Doc meeting the love of his life. All of it is because they took Jennifer out of the car. There, okay? It is. It just is. And prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You can't do it. So Doc takes off and Marty walks out of the alley and into the updated 2015 version of Hill Valley, down Hill Valley, the Universal backlot. And it is a pretty spectacular visual. That's why I chose it as the picture for today's episode. But I'm looking at everything in downtown Hill Valley. We see re-elect Mayor Wilson Jr. So those posters are everywhere. They're covering love facts. Oh God. Uh-oh. Is there more smut in Hill Valley because of the Wilsons, the Mayor Wilsons? We see Marty walk out, no landing sign. We see the posts that were hanging when they first came to the future and they're flying. You could see that off in the distance, like that's the freeway. That's really cool. The cars are spectacular because nowadays 95% of this would be digital. I feel like most of this is physically there and built. All the cars are there. Stuff in the distance, anything flying, obviously was digitally added, and you can kind of. It's great, but it's not what it becomes as far as things really looking tactile, like they're there in the space. But these cars that are floating by, very much right there. And I think some of these were like future cars that were going to use in other movies or maybe Tron or other futuristic movies. We see a mailbox that says Facts, and next to it, there's a little machine with a screen. I'm going to guess that's a way to digitally send mail, maybe? We don't quite have email. I mean, email does exist in 1989, but it's not in everyone's home, and definitely not in everyone's phone. The Hill Valley Courthouse looks great. It's got a nice big glass facade. It's got this waterfront, they man-made in 85. It's a parking lot that Marty and Jennifer are walking through. In 55, it's a nice grass court. Now it is like a pool there's a little bridge. But what I think is really cool is that they did not change the clock. If you look on the clock tower, you'll still see the burn mark and you'll still see the lightning post, like that rod, that lightning rod, and you still kind of see the broken area where Doc stepped and hung and almost fell off the clock tower. Why they didn't replace it? What's the cultural significance to Hill Valley for having that clock tower struck? Well, you know what it is? No, because Save the Clock Tower, save the clock tower. That woman had a petition. They never saved the clock tower. They never replaced the clock, I should say. They kept the courthouse. They never replaced the clock tower. The clock still has the same time. It's still burnt. It's still broken. So that woman failed. Marty gave her a quarter, and that quarter didn't do shit. But anyway, downtown Hill Valley, it's very much reminiscent of him showing up in 55, almost getting hit by a car and kind of taking it all in. We see him looking at next to the courthouse, 75? I think it says 75 underground shops. That's cool. There, I can't tell what's in the distance there. And then what is that way off in the distance? It looks like it just might be stock ticker and people are just walking around. We see a sign that says, this time it's really, really personal. And it says Holomax. And really quickly you see Jaws 19. Your eye's not drawn there yet. I feel like you're maybe looking at Marty so you don't notice it right away. And in the background, now you see there's a CompuVend. Is that like a computer vending machine? I think I see a Pepsi sign. US Air. I see a sign for that Blast from the Past, just a part of it, but we don't really know what's going on there. Marty's now looking at this automated Texaco station. That's one of the things they talked about in the clip of automated gas stations. I mean, most gas stations are self-serve now, unless you're in New Jersey. But here, instead of Valvoline, they have Havoline, unless Havoline's a thing. I don't know. Somebody said, yeah, I think they're right. It says Super Gold gas, $7.25. So gas is $7.25 in 2015. I feel like it was in some places during COVID. You can get your tires, your shocks, your wipers. You can get your aerodynamic kits, certified retrofitting station. The cars look futuristic. This gas station looked really cool. And I'm wondering, did they build this whole thing like that? Or is that like, is that a miniature? I don't know. It looks pretty full, which is cool. Then while he's kind of getting distracted by that, we see a holographic shark that looks, if it was actually coming out like that, it would look kind of cool. It doesn't look very real, but the shark, and it says, now we see Jaws 19, directed by Max Spielberg, which is Steven Spielberg's son, I'm pretty sure. We see the shark coming out of the, virtually out, like a hologram, like Tupac at Coachella, right? Isn't that what it was? Coming out and basically going right at Marty. We see the visual of the teeth, and Marty just screams, and the shark just disappears because it's digital. Shark still looks fake. So he knows now it's a movie, and he realizes there's 19 Jaws. Now, this is 1989, so we're only a couple years removed from the great Michael Caine film Jaws: The Revenge. And at that point, they probably thought, well, this Jaws, cash cow is going to keep going. The cash cow, the fourth one, I think, was a friggin' bomb. I should say this desperate attempt for money is going to keep going because that's a Universal thing too. But it didn't. And the fact that Steven Spielberg did not return for any of the sequels, there must have been quite a family rift for Max to come in and say, I'm going to direct 19, Father. No, Max, don't do it. The movies are garbage. I will finally make, yes, 2 through 4 were not great. 5 through 11 were really, really good. But 12 through 18 were just not the same. So, Father, I'm going to bring honor back to the Jaws name with Jaws 19. I'm going to make it really, really personal. Oh, please, Max, no. Anyway, then we see a shot of my close personal friend, Donald, full of love. Of course, he has sent me 2 cameos over the years, both thanks to former and future Marchy McFly guest, Eric. Hi, Eric. And here we see Goldie Wilson III. So we never meet an older Goldie Wilson. We see an older Goldie Wilson on a picture of him in 1985 as he's running for re-election. Progress is his middle name. But we never see, we never actually meet him. We just meet the younger version, at Lou's. And then we see the younger version of Goldie Wilson III here, who he has a car dealership and he does hover conversions. His father is the mayor, but I guess Goldie Wilson III said, I want to get out of politics. I'm going to go into the automobile industry, which is a noble industry, especially, now that you can take a regular car and make it a flying car. So I'm assuming that Doc Brown took the DeLorean to Goldie Wilson's hover conversion, and nobody said, "Hey, what's all these doohickey here? Like, what is this time circuit, and why is there a Mr. Fusion?" All these things. So, then Marty finally sees the Cafe 80s, really, really perfectly 80s looking sign. They nailed that because this was made in the 80s, so they know what the 80s looks like. It's fun to have the 80s be something nostalgic, which it definitely still is to this day, but trying to pick out how to make it nostalgic while it's still happening. That's a fun little thing, which they didn't get it all right, I'll tell you that, but that sign is pretty great. And next to that is a blast from the past store, which Marty looks inside. And I did a whole episode on this back in Marchy McFly 2, but we see a clothes iron. We see Super VHS, a Magnavox. It looks like is that a mini computer or a calculator? Perrier. People, the original water in a bottle. Roger Rabbit, which of course is what George Zemeckis, is not his name, which is what Robert Zemeckis was doing right before Back to the Future 2. We see Barbies. We see Kens. We see JFK, Jimmy Carter, Carter for President. We see Jaws and Jaws 2. Looks like Jaws, a Nintendo game, and Jaws 2, the VHS. We see Burger Time, the video game. Looks like there's an old stereo, some old TVs, an old Apple computer, a Dustbuster, an old VHS. Looks pretty much like the one that Marty and Doc used back in the original movie. We see the Dragnet movie. The Dragnet movie. Someone said, get the Dan Aykroyd, Tom Hanks Dragnet movie. That is a perfect, perfect summary of the 1980s. There's a bunch of things. I think that's most of it. A lot of happy, like pins and smiley faces. That was a big deal. And then there's one thing that Marty kind of focuses on, and our camera looks at it too. Gray's Sports Almanac from 1950 to 2000. Interesting. He doesn't spend any time other than just looking at that, but that does catch his eye. And then he heads in to the cafe, 80s, and we hear Beat It playing in the background. We see masks up on the wall. Let's see the various heads of masks we see on the wall. Are they supposed to be all world leaders? Like, I see Gorbachev. I think that's Ronald Reagan. I think that's Fidel Castro. I think that's the Ayatollah. Now, that's not the Ayatollah that's been in the news recently. This was the previous Ayatollah, or at least one of the previous Ayatollahs. Look, I don't know much about the world. All I know is I know something is here, and something in the next clip is dealing with the Ayatollah Khomeini, but that is not the Ayatollah Khomeini. Like, there's same kind of. It's a different guy. This is a different guy than the guy who's in the news, who's in the news recently, and that's pretty much all I want to say about that. But we do see, Wild Gunman, which again wasn't an actual arcade game. 2 kids are playing it. We see a lot of Pepsi, a lot of people dressed in what they think. I guess this is futuristic stuff. This isn't 80s stuff, even though this futuristic stuff looks 80s. We see a Dodgers t-shirt, a couple electric guitars. I can't tell what that. There's a doll on the wall. Some Super Bowl. I think that's a Super Bowl 20 the Patriots were in. Some shoes, which I don't know what kind of shoes those are. It looks like, does every table have a little TV on it? I'm not sure. I see a baby on board sign. And on the TV, we see someone who kind of looks like Michael J. Fox. Oh, then there's a wall of TVs. I see Taxi. I see Cheers. I see Oprah. Now that is a pretty good, way of looking at the 80s, seeing those things. Smurfs. I don't know if I see Fantasy Island. I don't think I did. And then we get we see a wall that has a bunch of stickers on it. Dare to keep kids off drugs. For the first time in history, the South loves the North. The South loves North. Was that like an Ollie North thing? A bunch of bumper stickers of the 80s. We see Princess Diana and King Charles. He's Prince Charles there. But one of the things that they didn't get right was how culturally significant Max Headroom was, because at the end of this clip we have and multiple times we have different characters of the 80s kind of using that Max Headroom style of. And if you don't know Max Headroom at this point, he's like, he was an actor, and they made him look like he was supposed to be like a digital Matt Frewer. He was supposed to be like a digital character who, and like he stuttered sometimes. He was like, just like in these clips here, we see some guy doing Michael Jackson, and he's like giving the specials of the day. These are basically the waiters in the restaurant. There are no waiters. Everything's digital. That not quite right, but that's kind of becoming more and more. I feel like you're seeing you can order your food from your phone at your table. You can pay for your food at the table. They just bring it out to you. And the TVs have all the menus on them. And what I do like is the way the TVs swing around the cafe. We see people on bicycles while they're eating, and we see an old guy sitting at a table alone. They don't show him, like they don't see his face, but we do see him there. Very cool seeing that. We see a video game, Pac-Man in the background. Priceless artifact, do not touch. That's what the Pac-Man cabinet looks like right now. And what I like is that I could go to a Fun Spot right now and see that same Pac-Man and go play at Fun Spot up in New Hampshire. Then out of nowhere, another TV swings right into Marty's face, and we see a Ronald Reagan impersonator saying, "Welcome to the Cafe 80s, where it's always," and that's where this clip ends. Now, these are all, like, I think, well-known impersonators, so I'm going to look up real quick. Back to the Future 2, full cast, and let's see, the Michael Jackson impersonator. Michael Jackson video waiter was E. Casanova Evans. That's what he was credited as there on IMDb. He's known as E. Casanova. And the Ronald Reagan waiter is someone by the name of Jay Koch. Now, if you look up Jay Koch, he was born in Austria, raised in Brooklyn, and he literally went around doing Ronald Reagan impressions. He kind of looked like him. He sounded like him. There's a photo of him meeting Ronald Reagan. He really does look like him. So he played, now listen to this. He has 5 roles in IMDb. 5. In something called 1984's Mad Mission 3, he played Ronald Reagan. In 1989 in Back to the Future 2, he played Ronald Reagan, video waiter. In Hot Shots Part 2, 1993, he played Ronald Reagan. In something called Cosmic Slop, he played Alan Press Secretary. Who cares? And then in 1995 in the movie Panther, he played Governor Reagan. He's no longer with us. He passed away in 2007, but he definitely was his second career as a Ronald Reagan impersonator. E. Casanova, on the other hand, he has multiple roles. In the TV show Blossom, he played Michael Jackson. On the TV show Punk'd, he played Michael Jackson. In the Michael Jackson Who Is It video, he played Michael Jackson. Okay. In Back to the Future 2, he played Michael Jackson. And then he added something Fashion Police playing Big Ratsy. So this guy, they found, Robert Zemeckis said, Steven Spielberg, you want to earn your executive producer credit? Get me the best goddamn Michael Jackson and the best goddamn Ronald Reagan you could get me. And Steven's like, well, I could get you the real Michael Jackson and the real Ronald Reagan. Like, no, we can't afford the real Ronald Reagan. You get me the next best thing. And to counterbalance that, we really can't afford the actual Michael Jackson. So please get us the original. Now, what's interesting is that in 2015, in the 2015 timeline, all 3 of these gentlemen are no longer with us. Ronald Reagan, the actual Ronald Reagan, and that's a fun little callback to the original one. Ronald Reagan, the actor. So Ronald Reagan passed away in the year he made it to 2004. He made it all the way to 2004. So he's alive during the movie, but he's not alive during the timeline. Michael Jackson, on the other hand, I want to say 2009. Michael Jackson only lasted 5 more years than Ronnie Reagan himself, while E. Casanova and Jay Koch. Well, no, Jay Koch is dead. E. Casanova's still alive, though. Go E! But that's this 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Not a lot. It's kind of just... There's not a lot of plot going on. We already know what Marty needs to do. We get that reiterated. He looks around a little bit in the 2015 version of Hill Valley. Then he walks into the Cafe 80s. He gets a little culture shock in there, and that's where we end. But I think in the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds, we'll be seeing some more actual action, actual plot happening so that they can save the day, go back to 1985, and everything's normal, right? Hopefully. We'll see. But that's tomorrow, my friends. That is tomorrow. Until then, you can follow me on all the social at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. I haven't done anything in a few days, but I have some ideas for some Marchy McFly related videos to be going up on there or over at Blue Sky. That's really where you see me most of the time now. Blue Sky, Geek Mentality, right there. And Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. That's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. Just go there to see everything. That's the easiest way to find me on and every podcast I do, fansnotexperts.com. That is it. I am done. I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope you will be too. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.